this week. You don't go up on
Okay.
holiday weekend, so I use that.
Good evening. We'd like to call the Property Management Committee to order. Approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Commissioner Stevens is out of town on a church retreat, and I'm pretty sure Commissioner Coggins will be here shortly. Okay. Lease will, what is that, Envirojet.
Okay, EnviroTest is the emissions control testing place that we have. It's in Smyrna. It's on our property there, adjacent to where we have the county clerk's building. And they've been there 5 years, or longer maybe, but anyway, I think it goes all the way back to 1995, actually. Well, this lease was for 5 years. And this lease, I believe, Becky, is for another 5 years.
I think so.
The only difference from the lease that we've had before, we have put in here the ability for the county, under paragraph number 6, it says, in addition to the terms and provision of paragraph 5 above, the county shall have the unilateral right and privilege upon 6 months advance written notice to EnviroTest to terminate this lease agreement. I put that in there because, you know, we've got a substantial amount of property left there, and I don't know what the commission will want to do with that property. In 5 years, I think was maybe too long for us to give them without any ability maybe to have them removed from that property, if we so chose. I don't know that we will, but we've had a lot of discussion about doing some other things there on that property from time to time, and this just gives us the flexibility for you to have some other options to make a decision on if you so choose. So they do want to stay there, and it's their, they put that little building there and they're doing that, and so that's what we need here.
How much do they pay, or do they?
They don't pay us anything
Okay.
for this. It's just a convenience, convenient
Convenience for smart.
service for our North Rutherford County people to have access without having to come to Murfreesboro.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no questions, then I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement.
Got a motion for approval?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion on it? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, next, license agreement with Tennessee Department of Environment Conservation.
Okay. Across the street over there in our planning building, the state of Tennessee, the Department of Environment and Conservation has been using some space over there for a long, long time. And last year, we changed the arrangement over there in that they pay us a monthly lease fee, you might say, to occupy that space. And that's where those groundwater, those soil testing people, the ones that issued permits for septic tanks, et cetera, they are housed in there. It's our space, and we let them use that space. And the way we made that arrangement is that they pay us based on a percentage of what money we're collecting. The monies we're collecting has gone down. I think this year we're getting like $825 a month, and you see next year it's only going to be $625. So there's nothing changed here except that amount of money is lower because we're not nearly as many people are building houses and residences, and they're not getting nearly as many septic tank permits, et cetera. So this is the lease with TDEC, and we need to get this approved beginning again July the 1st for another 1 year.
Do we look at this every year, or just,
This is only the second year it's ever been done this way.
okay,
Heretofore, there wasn't, heretofore we weren't charging them anything. They were there. We were charging fees for these permits. In other words, part of the money was the state's money, and a little bit of it was ours. And they wanted every county in the state to quit charging fees, so we lost that revenue source. But so the only revenue source we got in turn was this. They started paying us a little bit for using the space.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
second?
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Does this go to budget?
It's got money, I guess it should.
No more discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner Cogan?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
How long is this for? Just 1 year?
Just 1 year.
1 year.
Okay, County Fire Rescue Building update.
This is really just an update. We have, the engineer has completed those plans. And so we have issued requests for bids on that property, that building, and the bids will be taken June the 13th. So we're hopeful. We don't know what the bid will be. We may be in or out of the money that we originally estimated, but we will know soon, June the 13th. So that's, looks good. He's done a good job with them, and it'll be a very, very effective and practical and usable building. So that's,
Is that coming up for purchasing? Does that bid come for?
that bid will come to purchasing on June the 13th.
Yep, okay.
Any questions to the mayor on it?
It's a very much needed fire station out there, I know that. Right in the middle of the 7th district.
Okay.
So
Not-
moved.
But you don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do
We don't have
anything.
to do
No.
anything, okay.
Okay, next, Paul Surgical Suite update.
Okay. Some of you have been around a long time, know how long that building's been there. It hadn't been all that many years, but when you built it, before I got here, you had some extra space there, which would allow for the build-outs, you might say, of the surgical suite inside that existing space back there in the back of that building. So we do now have a veterinarian on staff, and we will be doing our own spaying and neutering and with the animals that we're placing. So we've completed those plans, and they have been, it's not going to be a very expensive project, but we have to bid it. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but it will be something hopefully under $100,000, maybe not that much. But we have to bid that, so we've had to have an engineer prepare those plans. They are finished, and they're on the same cycle, and we will take bids on the June the 13th on that one. So we'll have both of those projects hopefully ready to move forward.
It was a it was a struggle for us just to bring that build part in, but we pushed for it.
Yeah, and it's a good thing you did. And then after you did that, you went ahead and poured the concrete, the floor, and you did some other things. You put an HVAC unit there that could handle this whenever we got this done. So
Yes.
that was already there. We just have to do all the interior work and connect some duct work up, et cetera.
Okay, good. Any more questions? Okay, well, we don't need no vote on that either. Okay, next fueling station update.
Oh, okay. Here we go. We've been talking about what we're gonna do about fuel and what location, et cetera, for a long, long time. And I guess one of the primary difficulties we've got is we only have that one location at the Armory, and 1,000-gallon gas tank and 1,000-gallon diesel tank. The gas tank, the size of that's not so difficult as the diesel tank is small, and we're just running out of that fuel there sometimes once or twice a week. But in any event, and on top of that, it's a honor system, you might say, on who uses it and how they do it. It's a handwritten system. We don't have any attendance there or otherwise. So that, and we think we haven't had any real problems with people abusing the system, but it's not a system that one would put in place to control, to know who's buying what for which vehicles, when and where and exactly. And the third thing, which may be the most important thing, is that little fuel system there is right within less than 50 yards of the river, and we've been concerned about some potential that could happen there. It hasn't happened, nothing's ever overflowed or otherwise, but it's not a good place for that to be located. So all that being said, we've been really hopeful that we could put our own fueling station in somewhere, but we've never found a place, a piece of property that would be workable for this. And then when you look at what it would cost to do that, it would be well in excess of $1 million to find property, put in a fueling system with these pumps that have all this electronic equipment, et cetera, with them. And in addition to that, the software that goes to manage this, and everybody that uses one of these systems has their own card. Every vehicle is completely separately identified. It's a very sophisticated system that allows you to keep up with great detail on the fuel being used by everybody in every vehicle. All that to say, I asked the city of Murfreesboro if they'd give us a proposal on using their fuel locations. They have 2 of them, and they have said yes, they will. So while I'm not asking you necessarily to approve anything tonight, I want you to just sort of start thinking through this, if this is the right direction for us to take. Let me say this. If we were to build something that cost $1 million or more, it would take $70,000 for every $1 million we spend to amortize that over 20 years. Plus, we'd have some overhead and some operating costs associated with that. I'm telling you that up front so you don't get too shocked when I tell you how much they say they'd like to charge us. They want to charge us an upcharge of 25 cents a gallon, which sounds like a lot when you think about it. But when we're using about 200,000 gallons of fuel per year. County general, the sheriffs has their own place out there, and the sheriff will continue to do their things. You know, we hadn't figured them into this yet. And I don't know if they want to come along, but that could be discussed, I suppose. There'd be a whole lot more vehicles. We got about 200 vehicles, counting cars and trucks and ambulances and all of that. When you add them all up, could be that many in the fire department we now have. So it would be a one-time $15 per vehicle charge, which costs us maybe $3,000. Then it's about $50,000 a year to do this if we choose to use them. Now, we have discovered one thing. They're using 87 octane gas and we're using 91 octane gas. There is probably $17,000 of savings there. I don't know why or when we ever started, but we've never changed. We've always bought that apparently. Sometimes government, once you start doing something, I didn't know to look to pay any attention, but they have discovered to our benefit that if we start using 87 and we don't know why we couldn't, really, that would save us maybe $17,000. So the net additional cost is about $35,000 a year. So I just want you to think about this and decide what you want to do. It'll take us a couple of months to do this. If the commission approves it, we'd have to get an agreement drawn by them and we'd have to execute an agreement. But if you want us to pursue this, continue to pursue this, I just sort of need to know what you think the direction should be.
Really, with looking at the liability that we have potential, and then looking at how much it would cost us to bond $1 million facility, that's not a bad price for us to enter into an agreement with them.
Well, I like the location.
Yeah.
It's centralized, and they're already up and running, so there won't be no time frame of delay there. And $35,000 per year, like you say, may sound like a lot, but in reality, it's not. Looking
Right.
at this project.
We don't have to have the land or the
No.
pumps or.
No,
I
no maintenance.
was kind of tooling around with it, and I thought it was gonna be about $30,000 in upcharge, but even with it being $35,000, that's fine, because it's still gonna take 30-plus years for us to pay that off, and 30 years from now, we might not even be using gasoline. So why do we wanna go spend $1.something million on a fuel system when we might not even have it paid off before we change to different type of vehicles anyway? So it's kind of if you think about that, it's really a good investment.
To me, it's a win-win situation.
Well, if you want to pass a motion to allow the mayor to continue this discussion with the city and to bring an official recommendation back, sort of endorse the concept, and if you want me to go forward with some more serious discussion with them.
I make a motion, we approve the concept, and for the mayor to work with the city and come up with an agreement.
A second on it? Second. Any more discussion on it?
I'd like to see some figures on it.
But, yeah, I just gave you the figures.
I know you just gave me the figures, but I want a hard piece.
One
One
other,
piece of paper with 200,000 times 25 at
No.
50,000.
one other savings that you won't realize that needs to be brought up too is you got two locations, so vehicles from the north side won't have
That's
to
right.
come all the way down, and
That's
vehicles
right.
from the south side don't have to. So we can't
Location.
factor that in,
No.
so we don't know what the true savings is really
Right.
gonna be.
That's what I
Prime
was
location.
thinking.
Yeah.
Is the city's fee negotiable? They've given you that
They gave
information.
me it. I haven't tried to negotiate the fee. I just wanted to see if you were, like this concept. If you do, we'll find out if there's any movement there. I don't know if there is.
And how long will these fees be for us?
Well,
Where it be a year, 5 years, or?
I'm sure it'd be a, one-year agreement to start with. They might want to go longer than that. We just have to see. 1 year with an option to extend.
Okay.
Any more discussion on it? All those in favor say in motion.
Aye.
Opposed? Continue on.
Let's see, where are we?
Okay, next, adult detention center break.
Bring that book up here. Come on up here, Captain Little.
Need the whole squad.
Okay, we're not going to read this book, but I even left mine downstairs, so I'm glad they brought this.
Good God.
But we've been through a pretty long journey here in that, we mentioned to you before that we got some brick difficulties around that jail building down there as far as spackling and cracking and joints and vertical joints breaking and et cetera. The good news is, after all of this evaluation and study, the building is structurally sound. It's not going to fall. We just got some problems with the veneer, this brick veneer that's around this building. So the building itself has, I think, 8-inch concrete walls all the way around it. So they're in good shape. This stuff is attached to those concrete walls. Now, I'll give you even a briefer discussion we had with Captain Little and Chief Garrett. We have already engaged a firm out of Chicago that have done some pretty serious preliminary investigation as to what's happening and why it's happening. So we've already spent $10,000 on this. And here's where we are. We have found, through the assistance of Mr. David Klein and this firm called ECS, we have found out pretty much what's happening and what we need to do to try to fix this. We can't get this fixed by somebody until we get specifications and plans drawn so we can take bids again. All right. So what I need you to do, we did give you a copy of that. What we want you to do is to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Klein, Sweeney and Associates. David Klein is the person that we're working with on this, to prepare contract documents and to prepare the bid package. And he will review the shop drawings through the course of the actual construction. He will supervise the work. He'll be an on-site supervisor. That $11,000 there is his estimate, because you can see at the last number, the $37,500 is a total not to exceed fee. So he may or may not spend all of the $11,000. He may or may not spend all of the $4,500 on item 5, and ECS is the company that's already done this initial engineering review to help us try to determine what the actual problems are. And so, we may need the additional help of a structural engineer through the course of this for some more consulting work. They've already had a consulting engineer look at these angles that are holding up all these courses of brick and computed how much brick they can really hold and how much should have been put there and what size those angles should have been and what kind of bolts they should have used with them. All that's been done, but we're going to have some additional work possibly done there. So where we are, and we'd be glad for any of you to come by, take this book and look at all you want to, but we've got multitudes of pictures in here, and they have done some serious review and evaluation of what the actual problems are. It's superficial difficulties, but it's going to get worse if we don't take control of this now. and it could cost us as much as $300,000 to fix this. But it's a lot less than we thought it might be. We will not have to take all this brick off, but we're going to have to do remedial work in any number of locations, particularly where there are lintels over windows, et cetera, that weren't sufficiently strong enough. So I'm telling you all that to say we'll give you as much information as you want, but that's a thumbnail sketch of it, and Captain Little's been into this business way before this even started. I mean, they've already done some, I think at least one corner has been refixed over the years already.
We've had Hardaway that built the building. They came in a couple of years ago and actually took some brick out and remortared them, put them back in, and did some tough work around where there was some cracks and stuff going on. But since then, it's just continued. We thought we'd stopped it there. We didn't know how far the problem existed. David Klein and his company came in. They were doing some work for the county, and he came over and started looking, and with his knowledge of all this, he said, we've got something wrong here, you know.
Well, it's just some things as simple as you have there's every level. There's about 8 levels here. You've got these angle irons where up to 23 courses of bricks are sitting there, and that weighs a whole lot. So, and the way they have attached those angles, instead of using bolts, they've used compression bolts that you screw in and tighten up, and that's when you compute all the loads structurally on that, they don't have quite the same capacity. So over a period of time, it appears they let this slip down just a little. It's not coming off anywhere, but it's put pressure. So we're going to have to do some remedial work there at the top of the building. In any number, there weren't enough vertical expansion joints. There's places where there's at least 43 feet without an expansion joint, and they shouldn't be more than, I think, 28 feet between each vertical joint. So we've got several things like that will have to be done. They think that can be done. How long did it? They think the work, once we get this bid, could be done in about 8 weeks, and it won't affect their operation, but it will be tedious and messy all the way around the building at various levels.
All the work will be done on the outside of the building. There'll be nothing to endanger the integrity of the security of the jail. Everything's going to be done outside. The most that they'll have to do inside is, like the gentleman that came in from Chicago, we had to take him to the roof and let him rappel down. That's his preferred method. We had a man lift there that would take him to the top, but nope, I'll dangle off a rope before I sit in the man lift. And that's the way he did it.
So we're going to do a little bit more of that. We're going to do some more follow-up. We're going to actually take some of these bolts out just to be real sure exactly what is up there. But there we are. We need to hopefully get this done so we can get this work done over the summer while we have some reasonable weather to do this.
No tornadoes.
Yeah.
The total cost of the sheriff's expansion project has been in the $8 to $10 million range. Does that include these renovations?
No, it has nothing to do with it. This is all remedial work that we had no clue we had to do until well, they knew this had been happening, but
Yeah.
we really got serious about trying to find something that would fix this as opposed to just taking a little piece here and there superficially. This was sort of look at the whole envelope, but this does not have anything to do with the other part of it.
And this money came from that we're gonna use it for. We've already talked about that. It's the litigation or?
We have built up some litigation dollars that we can use for jail remediation, jail improvements, and/or a courthouse. So we'll use that money to do this.
Good deal.
Does any of the findings that you've uncovered resort back to any specifications not being met by the original builders?
Everything was built within code and everything, from what I've been told.
And that's correct. Quite truthfully, we have not even been able to find every document. I mean, we have plans, but we don't have the specs, the actual written books of specs that I'm sure were, but we have not even been able to find. we've not been able to find any way to find that anyone didn't build something that was approved by the architect and engineer at that time that did meet the building code. But in retrospect, even though those different kinds of compression boats were used, it appears, they're still okay, but we don't quite know whether they figured the loads precisely correctly or otherwise. We'll never know.
And this has got, like the mayor said, 23 courses of brick. These are not residential brick, this is industrial brick, which are larger. So it's even heavier than what you'd have at your home.
The same architect and engineer that done the jail did the range out there.
Yes.
Are we seeing any future problems?
Not to my knowledge.
That range is just, single story.
Yeah.
And it's so new. There's nothing.
So you got architects, you got engineers, you got
Yeah.
structural people, you got all kinds of people when you build a building like they have there. And
I will say that Hardaway Construction was a company that built the jail, the tower, and they have really stepped up, when we call them, contact them, we've got a problem or something, they return calls, they come out on site. It was their guys with them. They actually brought a lift out there that they could sit in front of the building and reach the top of it, 9 stories up. They were working off of. So they've really stepped up helping, even though it's,
Out of warranty per se.
yeah.
they've helped us with this evaluation.
They're a good company,
Yes, ma'am.
very good
Yes,
company.
ma'am.
We didn't have any problem with when they were building the jail, and I'm pretty sure it was built within spec, because I recall, because it was reviewed on a daily basis, and Captain can tell you that. It's a good company. It could be the wear and tear of the weather or whatever and all that good
Well.
stuff, but how old is it?
97 is when we moved in.
That's right, so we could look at doing some maintenance to it anyway.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no other questions, I'll make a motion that we approve the request.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, got a second. Any more discussion? So we looking at the funding coming out of the litigation end of the budget
Yes, sir,
anyway.
we are.
And it's a maintenance deal, and safety-wise, we're gonna have to do something.
It's a liability and a life
Right,
safety issue.
right.
Well, right now,
Safety.
we have,
Yeah.
I don't know if you looked at the front of the line, we have a covering over the back entrance so that, at the loading dock.
In the front also.
Because some of these brick up high do have one or two that have fallen, so but it's not going to happen with any frequency, but we're trying to be sure we're safe.
Yeah. Guess call the roll.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes?
Commissioner Coggan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Farley,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Yes. Okay. Any other business? Any other business to be brought up? Oh, it's one, what about June meeting? On public works, public
Public safety.
safety, we decided not to have a meeting in June based on the budget will be set to 21st.
22nd.
27, if I'm correct. So unless it's something of an emergency to come up, I don't foresee any reason for having a meeting in June. I don't know, what about the other committee members?
Like I said, on public safety, if something comes up and that needs to go,
Right.
we were gonna bring it to the full, county commission on the 27th, take care of it that way,
And I'm,
Yeah, there's no pressing business.
no,
Let me ask Becky for one point of clarification. I believe you've already authorized the development of an easement down at the Smyrna Health Department.
Yes, they
Right, you've already said that's okay. I
They
believe.
accepted it, yes.
They accepted
Because the
it, okay.
county's not signing it, just Smyrna's signing
okay.
it. So that's handled.
that's the one that Public Works read.
Yes, that's right.
Any other business to come before the committee tonight? If not, we'll look, we will not have a scheduled meeting in June, but if it's an emergency, you will be notified.
Or you can take it to the commission.
Yeah, I can go straight to the commission. If not, hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Meeting adjourned.